Sit down, please. I call the Murray City Planning Commission meeting Thursday, January 15th, 2026, February 19th, 2026, 6:30 PM to order. So present this evening are Commissioners Aaron Hildreth, Jake Pearson, Katie Rogers, Pete Hirstow, myself, Ned Hacker, and excused are Pete Kling and Michael Richards. So staff here this evening, Zach Smallwood, David Rogers, Ruth Ruack, Chad Wilkinson, and Mark Richardson. So welcome to the public in attendance. We're always grateful to have you here participating with our meetings. So several etiquette items to review. We ask that you take a moment, silence your cell phones. I already did mine. When time comes, if you would like to comment on a particular agenda item, we ask that you speak from the podium at the microphone, provide your name and address for the minutes. Once your item is completed, if you're desired to leave, you're welcome to leave. Just ask that you do it quietly so we can continue our meeting. So for those that are viewing our meeting online from the live stream, the only way you can make a public comment is by email to email planningcommission@murray.utah.gov. So if you post a comment at Facebook or YouTube, we won't be seen, won't be taken. So with that, we've got a pretty straightforward meeting this evening. Approval of minutes, identifying any conflicts of interest, approval of finding of facts and conditions, a conditional use permit, subdivision review, and the last item is a item that the staff is going to bring to the Planning Commission. We're going to dismiss from this room and go into next door into the Poplar room and finish the meeting. If anybody wants to attend that, you're absolutely welcome. It'll be presented the same as this meeting. So with that, we'll start with agenda item number 1, approval of the minutes from our January 15th meeting. And ask the commissioners if you've all read those and have any comments, and or I'll entertain a motion.
Chair, I motion to approve the minutes for January 15th, 2026.
All right, I have a motion to approve those minutes. Is there a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, those are approved. Does anyone have any conflicts of interest for
No.
these
No.
No.
items this evening? I do not either. And we have 3 findings of fact and conditions. Does anyone have any issues with those 3?
No.
And I'll entertain a motion for those.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion that we approve the finding of facts for Auto Expo LLC for a conditional use permit, Hell's Gate Gym also for a conditional use permit, Point at 53rd subdivision amendment.
All right, I have a motion to approve those findings of facts and conclusions. Is there a second?
I'll second.
And all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, approved. So our 4th item is conditional use permit for muscle therapy. Is the applicant here? All right, just stay there. Ruth is going to give us a staff report, and then we'll have you come to the podium.
Thank you so much. So this is a request for a conditional use permit for a massage therapy business at 97 West Winchester Street. The property was rezoned to the R&B zone in 2023, a zone where massage therapy is a conditional use. Here's a street view of the property. The property meets all landscaping and parking requirements of the R&B zone, as well as the requirements for the massage therapy use. And here's the submitted floor plan of the building showing which suite that the massage therapy will be conducted. It'll just be conducted all within the office that's highlighted in red. It'll just have one employee with one-on-one sessions with clients. Staff made these findings. I'd like to highlight finding 3. The proposed use is compatible with the surrounding residential neighborhood business environment and is not contrary to the Murray City General Plan. So staff recommends that the Planning Commission approve a conditional use permit to allow a massage therapy business at the property address 97 West Winchester Street, subject to these conditions. And we're here for any questions.
Great. Planning commissioners have any questions for Ruth
No.
before she leaves? Okay, all right, will the applicant please come to the podium and state your name and your address for our minutes, please?
Hi, my name is Rebecca Snedeker. The address will be 97 West Winchester Street here in Murray.
And have you had opportunity to review these conditions?
Yes, sir.
And will you be able to complete them?
Yes.
All right. Do you have anything else to add to the report?
I don't believe so. Thank you.
All right. Commissioners have any questions for the applicant?
No.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
So we'll open this up for public comment. I saw previously we didn't have any public comments. We should get an egg timer for public comment. Anything come over electronically, Zach?
So I just wanted to give some clarification on that. It probably just hasn't been updated on the document you have, but we actually don't take the emailed comments anymore during the public comment portion.
Okay,
So it's only the
so
people
only
here.
public comments are public who are at our meeting,
Yeah, so either emailed before the meeting or here at the meeting.
okay?
Yep.
All right. So, close public comment. Any questions from staff, discussion?
No.
Commissioners? So I'll entertain a motion for this agenda item.
Chair, I'll make a motion that the Planning Commission approve a conditional use permit to allow massage therapy business at the property address 97 West Winchester Street, subject to the 4 conditions.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any additional comment? All right, we'll take a roll call vote. Zach?
Perfect. Commissioner Pearson,
Yes.
Commissioner Haristo,
Yes.
Commissioner Hildreth,
Yes.
Commissioner Rogers,
Yes.
and Chair Hacker.
Yes. All right, welcome to Murray. We'll look forward to having a massage over there. All right, thank you. All right, agenda item number 2, or I guess we're on number 5. Mile Ayers Estate. Request amended subdivision and create a flag lot subdivision. Applicants are here, and Zach's going to give us a staff report.
Perfect, thank you so much. Yeah, this is a request from Carolyn Milne to amend the Milne Air Estates subdivision and also create a flag lot subdivision on the properties 5712, 5720, and 5748 South 48 or 800 West. As you can see, the properties are currently 3 properties located just off a little bit west of 7th West, in between 2 schools that it doesn't matter how much I try, I can never remember their names. Riverview Junior High? There we go. And I can't remember the elementary for the life of me. I'm really bad at names of schools. I know Murray High School because it's where I work at the city. So the zoning on the property is R18. I believe back in 2023 or 2024, the zone was changed on this northern property here from A1, which is this green color, over to R18 to facilitate this subdivision amendment. So as you can see, it's pretty basic. This is the existing plat, which is also kind of shown here just with less color. So 6, 5, and 4 are the ones that are being affected currently. And then I tried to scale this as best I could to show that what is changing is Lot 6A is going to be significantly smaller. They are extending Lot 5A further to the rear. And then Lot 4 becomes Lot 4A and 4B. 4B will be the front lot, which it contains a single-family home currently. And Lot 4A will be the new flag lot, which is, would be for a single-family dwelling as well. They both exceed the minimum requirements, as you can see on here. The smallest of them is 14,000 square feet, so well over the 8,000 minimum. It's hard to see in these boxes. They seem like they could be small, but they're pretty large lots. As was mentioned in the staff report, there is a variance that was granted in 2016 for the access easement to the rear flag lot. Our code typically requires 28 feet, 4 feet of landscaping on either side with a 20-foot access drive. They were granted a variance for that 27 feet 2 inches. So there will be a 5-foot landscaping with a 20-foot access drive and then another 2 feet of landscaping on one of the other sides. Funny enough, I had a lot of findings in this. Typically, there's only like 3, but I was able to make a lot of findings here. So, as you can see, and they're in the staff report, staff made the following 6 findings. And we are recommending that the Planning Commission approve the proposed subdivision amendment and the flag lot subdivision for the Mill Air Estates subdivision located at 5712, 5720, and 5748 South, 800 West, subject to the 9 conditions. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Zach, can you go back to the diagram and show me where the access lane is?
Right there. So this
there it is.
hashed line right here will be the 27-foot access.
Okay.
That access. So this is 800 West right here, and then the elementary school's right over here.
Got it.
Yep.
Thank you.
No problem. All good? Oh, yeah, I've been finished. Okay. No, you're good.
Would applicant like to come forward, please? State your name and your address for our meeting minutes.
Yeah, my name is Carolyn Milne. I'm at 5748 South, 800 West in Murray.
And have you had an opportunity to review all of these conditions?
Yes.
And will you be able to complete it?
I was going to ask about the soil report, but the others I'm familiar with. Don't know much.
And if
About the
you
soil
can't, staff will
reports.
help you.
Okay.
All right. Anything else you'd like to contribute to the report?
I don't think so. I think I've
All
been
right.
over it many times.
Any questions from the commissioners? No? All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Any discussion? I'll open it for public comment. Would anyone here like to comment? No? We received no comments, right? Oh, I guess we had one. Is there one? Yeah. Okay. All right, public comment period is closed. With no public comment, I'll ask for a motion.
Should we clarify the soil report?
Yeah, so just give Carolyn an idea. So typically with any building permit, when you're building like a new house, those are required. It's through building code. So that's a pretty standard comment they leave is like whenever you apply for a building permit, provide a soils report. Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, Murray requires them. It's to make sure that you don't have things like, that if you're built on a hill, it's not gonna slide off the hill one day. So, yep, exactly.
Okay. Good. Anything else? All right, I'll entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion that the Planning Commission approve the proposed subdivision amendments and flag lot subdivision for the Milne Air Estates subdivision located at 5712, 5720, and 5748 South, 800 West, subject to the following conditions.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Yeah, Zach, I'll ask for a roll call vote.
Yep. Commissioner Hildreth,
Yes.
Commissioner Rogers,
Yes.
Commissioner Pearson,
Yes.
Commissioner, nope, you're not there, Commissioner Hristo,
Yes?
and Chair Hacker.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Congratulations. We'll look forward to your flag lot construction. All right. Okay, so we're going to close the meeting here in the chamber.
Maybe take just
Move
like
over into the Poplar Room right next door, and we'll resume discussion regarding the next agenda item, which is amending the subdivision and reviewing the pros land use tables and transition strategy from the standard land use code.
Do you want to just adjourn for like 5 minutes? That
All
way
right.
we can.
We'll
switch.
adjourn for 5 minutes until 6:55.
Okay, we're good.
All right, resumed. It's 6:55. We'll reconvene the Planning Commission meeting for February 19th, 2026 in Poplar Room at the City Hall and discuss agenda item number 6, which is
Thank you.
reviewing the proposed land use tables and transition strategy from the standard land use code.
Yeah.
Staff is still all here, so we have a staff discussion with the planning commission.
Yes, so I'll kind of kick us off a little bit. In the pre-meeting, I mentioned it a little bit. So there's been some questions in the previous year or so about, from commissioners to have us kind of look at the, some of the permitted and conditional uses in the zone. We decided to punish ourselves and make it much more complicated, but I think a worthwhile endeavor to get rid of the standard land use code, which is the book that David's kind of showing in front of you. We did some initial research and found that there's over 6,000 individual types of land uses in that book. There's whaling, there's vacant land is a use.
Whaley is in here?
Yes, it sure is. So this is not tailor-made to Murray. This is, because it is a standard, right? It was a national thing that was made. They realized it's not very great. I don't know very many that use it anymore. From what I can find, largely it's been Murray and Provo are two of the only cities that use it. At least along the Wasatch Front. I think there might be another one that uses it like, okay, so they use a little bit. So we want to kind of modernize it and make it more of a land use table, which is where a lot of cities have moved to, which is more broad categories. That way we're not dictating what type of retail you're doing. Because largely what we're doing here in planning and zoning is determining impact. Like, what's the impact of whatever use to a neighboring use, et cetera. So we are here today to kind of show our first blush at one of these. Nothing here on this proposed is set in stone. All of it is up for discussion. There's a few that I do want to talk about specifically, but we'll get into those in a little bit. So what I'd like to do first is a small little exercise, which is going through, I have these dots that we purchased. So if you wouldn't mind passing those around. So you each get, you each get 2 reds, 2 greens, 2 yellows, 2 blues. Don't worry about the yellows and blues right now, that's for later. The reds and greens, so what I'd like to do is just, all of us kind of stand up, well, you guys stand up, we're gonna kind of mingle around. And I printed off these boards here that is the use class, our table, our proposed table here. If there's something that you really like, that's proposed in here, either use definite, like a use category or a specific permitted, conditional, whatever. Put green next to it. If it's something that doesn't necessarily, if you want to talk about it more or if it's concerning to you, put a red dot there. That'll give us some good feedback of what we should really start, where we should kind of start this discussion. So,
Can we read the purposes of the?
yes, you're right. Thank you for reminding me. Yes, I told you I would do that. Let me go through. So I will start with the CD zone because that's where I am, which is convenient. So each zoning district, as part of the law, part of the enabling law is that we actually have a purpose statement for every zoning district. So for the CD zone, it's to provide areas in appropriate locations where a mixed use of businesses, commercial, entertainment, and related activities may be established and maintained. It's pretty broad. What we have largely seen is it's really our high impact corridor. What also might be beneficial is I can kind of show you the general plan, future land use category as well. I can put that up on the screen. But I'll read the rest of these first. So I'll go to MG next. So the purpose for the MG zone, which is our manufacturing general, is to provide for areas in appropriate locations where light industrial processes necessary to the economy may be conducted. The regulations of this district are designed to impose only so much regulation as necessary to ensure purity of air and water and to protect the environmental quality of the district and adjacent areas. And then lastly is the CN zone. CN zone states to provide areas in appropriate locations where convenience buying may be established to serve surrounding residential neighborhoods. The regulations of this district are designed to promote a combination of residential, retail, office, and service facilities which in character and scale are necessary to meet day-to-day needs of area residents.
Did you say convenience buying?
Yes.
Okay.
Interesting. So, full disclosure, the three of us were discussing the CN zone while we were looking at this, and I think, we looked at the map, and I think that maybe down the road, the CN might get phased out for more R&B. It feels like the R&B is kind of accomplishing what the CN wants to do. But it feels like the R&B is kind of accomplishing that a little bit better. But that's not a discussion for today, but just keep that in the back of your minds as we're.
Is the R&B, I know you don't want to discuss it, but the R&B residential business, does that include retail? We have retail in R&B?
I don't think there's much retail in it.
Because this would include retail, right?
This would include small scale retail. That doesn't mean R&B can't be changed.
Okay.
To include that. So, reading that, I will open the general plan. And I'm not gonna read these because they're paragraphs long, but I'll put them, it'll probably be easier to read it on that screen than it will be on this tiny itty bitty screen.
We can't make that go full screen? We don't need to look at ourselves.
I worry about touching
break it.
anything there because then it'll stop recording and everything gets ugly from there. You can go grab a couple of them.
I mean, I know we were just looking at them.
Yeah, sure, go grab some. Okay. As long as it didn't break anything.
So we can like two things and dislike two things.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah, for now.
And is it dislike or I want to talk about it?
Or further
I think it
discussion.
has to be hate if it's red,
Like
and love
we-
if it's green.
Okay, deal. I'm-
It's a yellow.
I'll let you clarify what you want red to mean later. Or after we're done kind of doing it. Cause yeah, I don't really mind. Let's see.
You rip it in half and get 2 red stickers out of each one.
Yeah. We're going to tiny
You too. Let's see. Okay, so here's the neighborhood commercial. This one's not too bad. This designation allows mixed-use development in smaller neighborhood centers and along neighborhood corridors to preserve or cultivate locally serving commercial areas with a neighborhood character. This designation is intended for areas where urban public services, generally including complete local street networks and access to frequent transit, are available or planned and development constraints do not exist. Areas within this designation are generally pedestrian oriented or are desired to be, They are predominantly built at low to mid-rise scale, often with buildings close to and oriented to the sidewalk. There's corresponding zones, so the R&D and the CEN zone, so makes sense. Then we have general commercial, which is, while this designation is primarily for larger retail destinations, including regional shopping centers and standalone big box, it may also include mixed-use developments that are mainly commercial in nature and use. High-density multifamily residential complexes will only be considered as part of a larger master planned mixed-use development. Smaller scale, medium density residential projects may be considered for neighborhood or community node areas. I'll say we have not implemented anything like that for this zoning district. Just give you that. And then we have industrial. This designation is intended to allow a wide variety of manufacturing, technology, distribution, traded sector, and other light industrial employment opportunities in areas where, distribution infrastructure exists. Non-industrial uses should be restricted to retain market feasibility for industrial development, prevent land use conflicts, and reduce exposure to potential air quality, noise, truck traffic, and pedestrian safety impacts. So, I can show you this, but
They're on the table as well.
oh, fantastic. Okay. Very good. Put some stickers.
Yep.
Okay. Then stick away.
So telecommunications antenna here says refer to chapter 17.8. What does that mean exactly?
That means there's a specific chapter for that.
I love or hate anything.
Yeah.
So 17.80,
Can you go put a blue?
right?
I was like, the one thing I know about is telecommunications antennas, and I'm like, I can, but that goes, okay, yes.
Yeah, so it has its own chapter of where it says certain things are allowed in certain zones.
So that would not be part of this, or would it just be?
We would refer it, so if somebody like you were looking to put one in, right, then you could go to that chapter and it would show. And
Okay.
it would show you residential districts, it would show you,
I
and
have a question.
that's actually tableized.
There actually is a process for that.
Yeah.
Usually it's the FAA or the FCC. are the ones that-
That's great that you're
Some
ready
do.
to
Wait, I saw that too.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Like I said, you
But
talked about
not
it
the
for Wild
minute,
West.
you already read it,
And
so.
it is.
I just need permission to land.
You double read it.
We really don't.
And we do.
I do think that the
regulate
common
that
experience
a
kind
little
of.
bit
Okay.
more. I mean, again, that's kind of the
Yeah,
thing, because I mean, there's like wire or mesh. I don't know, it's the really big ones that kind of crisscross, like huge towers.
Oh, you talked about those like 6 foot tall antennas.
Yeah.
It's our turn.
Those are not fun.
There's notes and comments.
It's like having a bear.
You got to have full paragraphs, we get stickers.
Like if you get a big IT company wants to put a data center in or something,
Yeah,
where would that fit?
it would most likely fit in,
It's a bubble, don't do it.
probably it'd be
Why are they-
major.
That's
Just because
the only place I see
a
where.
wide variety
Yep.
of people who can attend at certain points.
But that's a good
Sometimes not a lot of
question.
people come to that. Really people. So we like you guys kind of looked at a church along that.
I know, I feel like we're getting
where
scattered with
there was
Well,
so
and
many
that's
concerns
what
by
we're
residents
concerned.
about how many people were coming.
I warned Rebecca beforehand, I was like, the minutes for this are going to
But
be
in the
awful.
CD,
So,
Or you get that in the CN.
It'll say something like the commission had a general discussion.
No, I think that's just-
exactly, that's what I told
And
her.
and the other thing is cultural centers aren't really commercial. They can
Yes,
be
they don't
used that
really
way,
fit in
But
there.
they're not, that's not like they're.
So what
primary
zone
use.
would they be?
Our planning
I would-
manager, go ahead, Rick.
I'd be okay with the CN zone, just because a cultural center could be a low scale, maybe.
Yeah, like I'm thinking like a little like
Like a
library.
library, that'd be
Like I'm
something.
thinking a library is,
I know, looking way.
that's what kind of, like if you're saying it's kind of like R&B, a library is.
Maybe it would fit there, right? And so one of the things I also wanna point out is that if there is something that you want to see changed, kind of make note of it. Because if we do wanna put like something as conditional, like that's kind of the next step of this, right? Is that what we want to do is have objective conditions or objective standards that we're reviewing
Yeah.
things against. So if there is something where you're like, well, I could see this happening here,
you know, kind of keep note of it, and then we can,
Okay, so don't use my red sticker on it, just keep my note.
yeah,
Okay.
I would say use your red sticker for things that really,
Really?
really concern you.
Like, that is a red flag. What's the difference between gun sales and weaponry?
Yeah.
Well, what's a mace or a
So can you sell
sword?
it? You can, yeah.
Well, I mean, I know the difference between a gun and a sword,
So,
right? But I'm like,
Aaron,
are those two different?
Weaponry's under manufacturing,
Oh.
Whereas the other one is under sales.
I see.
Okay. So we couldn't even manufacture anything.
I need more reds,
Just
I ran
saying
out of
we would
reds.
be
You only get 2.
The libertarian being
I'm having
screaming
like
right now.
huge red flags with it,
Well,
so.
we're not in manufacturing.
Right?
Nothing. Nothing's happening.
There's a lot of money in
No,
McDaniel
it's fine,
right
you're
now.
fine.
just saying.
You can't offend me on these. This is your community.
So,
Is that?
you guys are the land use authority. You guys get to.
Some
I
manufacturing.
wanna read this again. Are these the?
Where's the manufacturing purpose again?
Oh, so it's
Oh, sure,
manufacturing
I can-
of, and that's the selling.
Back up.
Or is it in the book? I think it's in the book.
I was just gonna look at the
I don't see it.
commercial development.
I guess this is the.
So the energy one is right there.
I mean, there's a lot more than just ammunition.
The swords and.
Right.
Why don't I see the commercial development?
Then we're gonna break it down. So what's the difference between a sword and a kitchen?
Do you want to see the
I can't
zone?
remember where they
Yeah.
are.
Okay, that's gonna be,
I don't know where they are, but they're,
I see,
they're
okay.
here in Murray
So
manufacturing.
I have it on my screen, I could probably look at my
it's
laptop.
fine, it's right here. I can pull it up.
Okay, that'd be great.
Does that mean it's technically already permitted? What zone would they be in? Or what's only in there?
Or it's under something other than this.
This is gonna get messy for just a second.
I like the category.
Or you're talking about the industrial manufacturing category. Or-
Oh, I guess that's implied, okay, okay.
Yeah, so sorry, this goes here.
I
yes.
see, okay.
That's under the same one, putting 2 dots. It's like all of these ones, even though there's nothing green, this is all commercial. Or considered commercial.
Yeah, pretend that.
Does the C?
There are gas stations on this. Oh, with these, oh, with, yeah, okay with that. Yeah, so see this one too, so we already have gas stations. But somebody's already seen that, so. Right, it might, that's, because that shell was the pink one, right? So we already have the extra shell,
Is the thing that went correct.
So we're saying, is this a policy shift that's intentional?
Potentially, do we want more, do we not want more?
I'm wondering,
We wanna talk about it, right?
I'm indifferent.
You know what?
Yeah. I know.
Saying?
Green dots.
Oh, I gotta say, oh, I have to say something nice. That was me, I'm just.
You have to say something nice.
Alright, here's
Don't put any
how does
yellows
this
or
one
blues
get
yet.
We already have a yellow.
split out?
Oh, no,
I didn't catch it.
Recreation and entertainment.
swap it with the red.
Yeah, I was just.
Oh, there we go, boom, here we go.
Every one of
Oh,
ours.
there's all my complaints
has
are-
You just didn't line
recreation
up at a red because it
and
looks mean.
entertainment indoors.
It's fine.
It's so aggressive.
Public schools, the functions going. Recreation indoors would be things like, if you had a skating rink or you had.
I do think,
something
at least
like
in regards to that one, I think the
Anything
state
that's not to do with
overrides whatever we want to
schools,
say.
Yeah.
We just hadn't dug that deep into the state's requirements. But no, that's
I'm just
something
saying,
to
we
talk
talk
about. No,
about,
something
in
to
case
talk about.
that Utah gets a Curaleaf and a manufacturing, so do we.
But it's not allowed in
There's a huge growth.
commercial neighborhoods.
Is this-
The first
Every
project
school
I was
is-
given,
every school is in
up on State
a
Street.
neighborhood.
But that's not a recreation or use.
Yeah, we haven't.
But it is.
It's not.
They even charge money.
It's not, that would be an operational use, they have all kinds of.
You guys don't have to put your greens, if there's nothing, you're like, this is awesome.
This furry patching?
You won't.
That's high school.
I mean,
That's-
generally.
Because I haven't done my greens yet. Please, Wes.
Yeah.
Things can
Make
change
every
the permitted
indicator
paperwork.
that
I don't know that
I think
off the top of my head.
a lot of it is green.
Generally, more often than not,
The reds are like.
it's what, it's similar to what.
And that's fine.
Most of it is green.
Sometimes.
There are some adjustments, but most of them are.
I'm thinking,
Think about the recreation indoor as commercial use. Commercial use, someone going in and saying, we're going
So what's the
to
difference
charge
here?
somebody to go throw a bowling ball, we're gonna charge somebody to do this or that.
So, that's why we're here with basketball?
Okay, so it's not defined yet.
So this is the definition from the Hills Clean Industrial Zone,
Okay.
that we really liked. So, yeah, reading that little section kind of gives you
Okay.
more like.
The schools are a lot more, residential zones are a lot.
Same with like the life source.
But this isn't ours currently, this is
Nope,
theirs that we
this is,
liked.
yeah, if it says like need to define,
These are-
most of the time I've taken it
Okay.
and taken that definition.
Yeah, we pulled a lot of definitions from neighboring cities that are relatively similar in size.
it's just why there used to be so many.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Because they.
It's one approach, right? That's definitely one approach to do it. You can also expand the definitions to include a lot of those. so,
Yeah.
If needed.
And once you guys put your dots, we can reconvene and have a
Sit down.
quick conversation.
We need to put them all or just the ones that are struck?
Just whatever you want to put up there, you don't have to use all of your dots. We would encourage it, but, you know.
That's what I was thinking. Just like, can I say I like this use?
Did I just say?
I like farmers markets.
I like that it's exclusive.
We'll do the prohibited belt and the farmer's market.
It's right there.
Right there.
Aaron already said he liked it. You can
I
like
like
it
it
too.
too.
That's what that means, that we're on the right track with that one.
Yeah.
But what's the reason why you don't want to allow it? Is there an economic reason?
Which ones?
What's up?
I like the whole thing.
I guess that's like that.
College, like the breakup.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, is there
That was one of the ones we did the most
Consolidating
consolidating.
the entire.
More like
I'm sure. I'm sure.
Every possible assembly use, every possible recreation,
An
entertainment.
application.
Yeah, I saw broken up as a go-kart track and it makes golf cars, course, and I'm like, that could be one place to bring it out.
That's
Bring it
indoor
to
Does this hotel motel?
There you go, perfect, yes.
Before it extends to like
Crematoriums.
deals?
Yeah, potentially, that would probably be the best that would fall under. It might, there might be something in the residential.
Is on here.
Which one was it?
Yeah, well, funeral and it was here, what you put here it is.
But
But no, I think that would be extended, yeah, I think so.
Conditional in CD and not conditional outside. And commercial neighborhood.
Like they're dealing with,
Which,
now you're.
and that
We were saying that is not.
So you could do a B and B in art quality, a B and B in art and B.
Well, potentially, so this one wouldn't make even though our current section is listed as one.
Yeah, that's true.
You're saying-
Every property could become a trucking lot.
exactly,
That's less of a
And you have to be-
commercial,
I mean,
more of a
Yeah,
residential.
it feels more like a short-term rental, but I mean, technically, so is that, I don't know.
Self-storage.
You think you don't want it, bed and breakfast?
Exactly.
Because I would consider a hotel.
Name
Or
one
would you
self-storage
put it
place
on
that's
your
abandoned.
permit?
that's the thing, yeah, right.
Yeah, it's just, is it, should it be in one of these three towns?
Forever and they're all used.
I wouldn't say they're all.
Are these the right places? Because like, for example, if you look here,
A lot.
residential and
Like I
all across the board, right?
Buildings you work down were office buildings, not one self-storage place.
Because they can just.
I had to call Sarah.
This is my question.
I got a phone call almost every week asking about,
You're giving me another. Here.
Where does that fit in?
The answer was yes or that. That's the closest thing we can find. So,
Okay, here's my question. So I read the thing over here for MG.
Yep.
It has nothing about sales. We have a lot of sales
we do have a lot of sales.
in
Should we?
this. But that's why I put my right here.
Okay.
It's not specifically about signs, it's about sales in general.
Should we have sales in the MG?
In the MG, like,
Okay. I think that's
in the
fair.
purpose, it doesn't say anything about it, so I'm like, oh.
I think.
I don't know if I have a strong feeling, but I'm like, it's not in the purpose, so
No, that's a good question. Yeah.
should it even
Do
be
we
in
want
there?
our manufacturing space to be used for commercial?
Yeah.
I think it's a good question.
Or should we keep it in the commercial?
Based on the thing we read, probably not.
Probably not.
It said
Yeah.
leave those to be manufacturing, but I'm not sure if that's antiquated a little bit. So if we don't do a lot of manufacturing.
Factoring anymore, like as much as it used to be.
Maybe we loosen the definition, or
Yeah.
we even do that. I mean, is there,
It's just-
lack of
That's why I'm like, that's why I
demand?
want that, it needs to be discussed.
We've got our manufacturing major, manufacturing minor with their definitions.
So how does the property hold up? Are we having like is land sitting empty because they're zoned a certain way?
Hopefully there's quite a few show yards that could potentially be other things.
Well, that's not current, so it's making money, right? This is not.
It's not,
Okay.
it's not like.
But is it the best use of
But it's not
land?
actually the best use of land, right?
I mean, I don't know, I'm not gonna tell me how to run the business, but
And that's where we set up our regulation, right?
I guess.
Anything of other questions right off the bat?
Nothing that, other than what I stuck my stickers on.
We specifically, so manufacturing major, we call out things like amounts of smoke, gas, odor, dust, sound, or other objection influences that might be obnoxious.
Was there a, just,
Number of drugs.
I know you think
To get their car back.
Yeah.
is there a distilleries? Is that
Oh,
manufacturing?
I think we would still treat, yeah, I think it would,
We should allow those for sure. I think. I don't drink at all. There's no reason we shouldn't allow a restaurant distillery.
I agree. I don't drink either, but I'm like,
Yeah.
that doesn't mean it shouldn't
I thought a
exist.
distillery was different from like a restaurant.
Well, distillery's not the same thing as a brewery, is it?
Yeah, brewery,
Well, it's-
brewery's what you typically see with a restaurant.
yeah.
Distillery would be, that's where you're talking about the hard stuff, right? So
Right,
you're
yeah,
not
that's-
typically-
Yeah,
you're not
that's
typically
more
gonna see
hard.
that with,
I mean, it's like a
Well,
brew
we
pub
do have
kind of
distillery,
Right, they can make it on site and sell it at the
Yeah,
restaurant.
Exactly.
Yeah.
they could,
Distillery is the same thing.
I've never seen a request for a restaurant distillery in my career. I've seen lots of brew pubs. It's just because the processes are different, you're gonna typically see that in the manufacturing. It's not to say we couldn't allow it, but I've never seen
How
it.
do we define brew pub?
The industrial
Well, it
category.
would be if you're manufacturing,
So
The drunken meat, change vodka to spirits.
I was just being funny,
Oh,
that's
okay.
all I knew was.
I mean.
Well, you brew beer, you distill vodka,
Yeah,
right?
the distillation is vodka, it's whiskey, it's
That's
stuff
what I'm
like
saying.
that. It's
Yeah,
not,
yeah,
you're not talking about,
It's a.
distillery is.
I'm just saying-
And do you allow wood to distill in versus metal?
There you go.
That's what the
Okay.
land use is.
I want a whiskey.
I'm glad it was more challenging than you guys thought, so.
Zach, can I bring up something that was brought up, but it's a really good observation thing. There's some of these uses that, they include a whole bunch of other uses, right? So as an example, that we talked a little bit about schools. Schools have a whole bunch of accessory uses that go with them, right? They've got ball fields, they've got places where people do driver's ed, right? There's a whole bunch of things. And so in the code, typically what you'll do is acknowledge those, that as you look at a public school use, you'll say that that could include ball fields, it could include gymnasiums, it could include all the things that go with that. Same thing with hospitals. Hospitals is one of those really fun uses that it's like a little city, right? Any of them. You have this place where healthcare is provided, but you also have retail with the gift store. You also have lots and lots of food being sold there to family members in the cafeteria, right? So that's a good thing to keep in mind. That sometimes big uses will encompass all those. Another one that is maybe more similar in use between the two things, the mall just by itself, or in and of itself, it's lots of different types of retail, right? And that's a good example of where they're all pretty related, but it also allows for restaurants and different things. So as you're looking at some of these uses, those accessory uses that are typically associated, the way we usually handle that is by putting it in the definition. something like hospitals may include the following. Gift shops, incidental sales of whatever, greeting cards, whatever those things are, restaurants, cafeterias, those kind of things that go into that use. And there's usually pretty good guidance in national codes and just in what we all kind of know from a experience kind of standpoint for those types of uses.
If we have an applicant come forward, let's say we do all this, we change the code, there's an applicant that comes forward and we miss something. I think generally we have everything that could probably be out there in some way or form. But would we just determine, would staff determine what we think it fits in best and that's what we do?
That is a great question.
So the first step in that whole process is it comes to planning staff and me. So as the director, I'm given some authority already in the code. I've got authority in the code right now to make some interpretations, right? So I can make an interpretation and say, we think this use is similar enough to other uses it ought to be allowed, or it's not, so it shouldn't be. Now, anytime I make a determination or staff makes a determination on my behalf, that can be appealed and they can go through a process. They also have the other angle, which is to say, okay, we can see what you're saying, maybe that's not really what that use is, but we'd like to request a text amendment to include that use in the code, right? Or we may look at it and say, boy, we did make a mistake, let's take that to the planning commission and include that as a use. But sometimes with these broad codes, there's enough flexibility that you can say, like the example of the retail. That's a little bit different kind of retail, but it's still retail. We can call that, it's basically the same functions. And then you just do an interpretation. Some cities have those interpretations formalized. I think we have a few of those, right? Director interpretations that have been formalized, and we have those for someone to look at if they want to. Some cities don't, but yeah, that's one way to do that, one way to handle it.
Okay.
So funny you guys mentioned that because we actually dealt with it during the short-term rental discussion. Because that was the loophole, right? And we closed that loophole, but still left it open to interpret, for our interpretation. If it's a similar use to something that's already permitted, yes. But but we added, if it's not listed in here, it's not allowed.
We specifically have that language in the form-based code, where it
Yeah.
explicitly says if it's similar to, or if it's not, then it's not, expressly not.
I can't find what section it was in the code at the moment.
And because of the way things are in the world, most codes now have that same statement of uses not expressly listed or prohibited, right? Just as a catch-all. But that being said, there's still some interpretation that can be had. If it's a similar enough use, we can say, well, it's similar enough to that, we're gonna make it a formal interpretation and say that's allowed in that zone.
So
Or
for
staff
example,
or them,
Yeah.
either one could someone could apply to change the code, or we could decide we want to try to change the code.
and one of the things I wanted to make mention of too is that this actually is a good way to use this, right? If we do move forward with these three zoning districts, right? We still have the rest of the zoning code to move to this table. And so as we're developing those zones, right? We can see how things are working and be like, wait, there was something glaring over here that we missed. We're going to take this as part of the R&B's, addition to this table or what have you. Because what most cities do are they have one table for all zones.
Yeah.
And that way, if somebody like Aaron's company wants to come in and wants to build something, he can just go to the land use table, go, there's where I am, here's the zones I can go into.
Kind of like the form-based code was set up with different tables and stuff.
Yep.
And is that the long-term plan then for this, once we get them all redone, to have a table with all of them in it?
Yes. Yeah. That would simplify it so people don't have to scroll through all these different things and then go to another book and find out what that book is. Let me just throw out an example, because I like to harp on the standard land use code. So 5400.
Hey, that's literally where I am.
Is it? Okay, cool. So that's odd. So
You guys planned that.
no, we didn't. That's so funny.
I've never seen this code in my life.
Yeah, never. So 5400 is the food section.
Yep.
So in the CN zone, for example, you can see up here, it just says, here, food, except 5412.
Oh.
Which is convenience store. So there you go. That's not a permitted use in the CN zone.
What about a bodega?
That would be a convenience store.
Okay.
What about a gas station?
That's a
Convenience
That's a
store.
convenience store with gas,
Oh.
which is different. But
It's different in here.
how many other things are under 5400?
We've got groceries with or without meat, convenience store, meats, fish and seafood, fruits and vegetables, candy, nut and confectionery, cheese, butter, milk products, ice cream products,
We
bakeries.
just wanted to know how many.
You're listing every single
Plus you're
I was gonna
making
say,
me
that's just
hungry.
going down the grocery aisle right
Right,
there.
exactly. So you can see, a layperson wouldn't be able to, they would just say food. Okay, cool, what's food mean, right? And it doesn't really, to a normal, just an everyday layperson, they wouldn't know to go look in this book to go find what that actually means. And that's not uncommon across a lot of
19
things.
is the answer.
There's 19 different uses under that,
I
so
think that book is from 1980s.
it is.
So that's where I put what my only red dot up here is food. And it's, where did it go? It's restaurants in CN zone.
Okay.
So if you think about gentrifying neighborhoods, and I can't think of too many around here, but I can think of a dozen of them in Denver. And there's restaurant on a corner, just like a corner tavern, which could be one and the same. And they bring the neighborhoods together a
Okay.
lot.
I like it.
Do we right now?
And I'm thinking of one that has, it's restaurant, it's bar, and it's entertainment. They have karaoke, they have live bands, small scale.
Does it have a drive-through? Does it have a drive-through, the one you're thinking?
No.
No drive.
No.
Don't we have some up in the avenues in Salt Lake
Oh, for
City?
sure.
Yeah, so
So is it current, so it's listed conditional right
Yeah,
now?
we proposed it as conditional.
Okay.
So we have
Restaurant.
restaurant general is P, discuss sizing. Restaurant fast food with drive-through is an N in CN.
And then restaurant.
Yeah, not in
With
a
entertainment
neighborhood.
Entertainment is
Or-
C.
or
Okay, but
not.
this is not a neighborhood. Let's be clear, right? This is not a neighborhood.
What?
The
CN?
CN.
It should be. It should be the
This
stuff that's
is-
closer to.
This is close to a neighborhood.
Yeah.
This
Yeah,
is
so
not a
if we look
neighborhood. In fact, if you look at it, we can't have a neighborhood in CN. It does not allow
Well,
building
It says no
residential
resident.
in CN.
But it's
Okay.
near, it's this,
All right.
it's
It's the
the
stuff-
commercial that's closest to the neighborhood.
Right,
Yeah,
so
it is.
if you look at like right
Well,
here.
it's just like a
along-
gas station.
Yeah.
it's along
Yeah.
Van Winkle.
On
Van
the
Winkle.
corner gas
Right
station
here.
right
Van
next to,
Winkle,
Yes.
a neighborhood.
Just
this
like,
stuff
just
located
like,
here.
Yeah.
But largely.
but the ones I'm thinking of, Jake, they're in neighborhoods.
This
I
is like
think
the
it's a
Little
great
Caesars,
Versus, I mean,
7-Eleven.
I'm not,
I
Imagine a
think
little
we should
restaurant.
the only reason I saw it is because it was in CN versus, I
that'd be
don't
awesome.
even know where
Pink spot in the
neighborhood would be on here.
There's nothing in my neighborhood.
Yeah,
There isn't a neighborhood.
I have nothing.
Yeah.
And of course, Taylor will read exactly like that on the other side. Sure does.
Well, I mean, commercial neighborhood.
Okay, so I mean, so right now, so we do say discuss sizing, right?
We do, yeah, right here.
So this isn't a bad concern. You want something. This is very echoey.
It could be any kind of
in
restaurant,
my opinion, I put a dot by here. I think.
any kind of
There's
restaurant.
two dots here, so I assume it's.
I put the one on the
I
right.
think we should not only allow restaurants, I think we shall allow drive-throughs as well.
In the CN.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what I think.
Veto.
This is not a neighborhood. Keep
It's
in mind,
neighborhood
this is
adjacent.
not, this is right here. Like
It's also right, this is the one I'm thinking of too, because I live closest to
That's
this one.
Van Winkle, and
Right
we
there.
can't have a drive-through for a Starbucks right here.
Okay, so I
Just
guess.
saying. It's not a neighborhood. Keep in mind, this is not
That
where
needs to be
houses are built, or
reclassified then.
adjacent to where houses are built.
So I don't mean to make this. I don't want to get it too far off, but is that the right place for CN?
Well,
Based on its purpose statement, is that the best place for CN? We can have that conversation. Based on its purpose statement, do you think a drive-through for CN is appropriate?
I do.
Okay. Conditional, permitted?
Yeah, conditional.
Conditional probably.
I know people don't like drive-throughs. I know
No,
planners
people- most
especially don't
people
like
love
drive-throughs.
Yes, it's like
Because
a
they've been
box.
indoctrinated.
Because if you put, I'm telling you, if you put a drive-through right there, then that's gonna be a nightmare.
I was gonna say, some places, like, you can't, like, I think here, if you had a drive-through in this little area,
But
it would
this
be a
is what the
disaster
staff was
traffic-wise.
saying is these conditions, or bad word maybe, the reason you do it is to analyze what the impact would actually be. So maybe where you're talking, maybe drive-through is good. Maybe someplace else like Aaron's talking is be a nightmare. And I think we can all find places where there's a drive-through that's a nightmare. I was at one at lunch today, Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which one, the one in Murray or the one in?
The one in Murray.
Oh, that one in Sugar
I don't
House.
think,
Oh, that one's-
I can see there's
I
an
won't
argument
argue
against
I
it.
know. You
I
gotta-
don't see an argument against restaurants in
Huge
general.
impact.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
So sizing then, would you want something the size, that's where we discuss sizing, right? Because we wouldn't necessarily want something of Cheesecake Factory size located there. I mean, right next, I mean,
Small cheesecake.
that's where we have to be careful, because it couldn't be a small Cheesecake Factory that, without limiting size.
Right.
Well, how do you define size? Are we talking like number of patrons, like square footage?
We can say square footage, we can, it's up to us.
Can you say non-franchise kind of a thing?
I don't
Like-
think you can do that.
Okay.
That's
I mean,
content.
I'm not against putting a size there. I don't know how necessary it is, but I understand you want a smaller
Like,
restaurant, not a giant Cheesecake Factory.
yeah, so something maybe along, I don't know how big Cheesecake Factory
I was
is.
thinking of something like Golden Corral. Like that's a big
Yeah, that's
restaurant.
pretty big. 5,000? I mean, if that's something you want us to look into, I guess we can't come up with a number right now. We can go back, and so that's,
Look at sizing for restaurants.
Yeah, you look at square footage or seating capacity or something.
Mill Creek has a square footage threshold of 5,000 square feet for all
Okay.
buildings.
That's perfect. I think that's a.
yeah. So we can look at that, and that's what these are up here for too, right? So if there's things that you want us to look at,
Yeah.
I can put it up here. Yeah, okay.
So what other reds do we have?
Yeah, what other
Convenience
ones?
stores.
What?
Convenience stores.
Okay,
Whether we want them in the CN zone or not.
Okay, let me just read it. I'm just gonna read it again.
okay.
To provide areas and appropriate locations where convenience buying may be established. That is literally what the zone says.
Put a conditional on that.
So I would
It's the
say,
number one sentence in the zone.
I
That we
would
should have
say-
convenience stores.
I would say convenience stores, in my opinion, I think yes. But with gas, no.
Yeah. But then again, there are gas
Let me
stations,
tell you
convenience
this.
stores in
I
those zones
grew
right
up,
now.
Yes.
I grew up on 59th South and 7th West. There's a gas station right there.
Right.
It was a Mr. G's, then it
Yeah.
was a
Now it's
Circle K, and it was a Lee Mart.
Yeah.
It's a great place for a gas station.
Right.
It's right on the corner of a neighborhood.
Okay.
Why wouldn't you want a gas station when you pull out of your neighborhood?
I just, in my opinion, I think the convenience store would bring people more together. It's less car oriented. Like I think gas stations make sense more on those kind of heavier arterials.
Wouldn't it be convenient for me to buy my gas on the way to work? It would, so
It would
convenience
be.
buying
Sure.
is
Is it
exactly
the
what
only gas station on your route?
I'm
And,
just
I mean,
saying.
and that's another question, right? Is it's also, you have to think of the other impact too, right? Do you want 4 of them in that, right there on that corner, right? Because that in theory could happen. And then you also have to think about like the truck traffic that comes in and fills up those gas tanks.
I understand.
Yeah, so it's just things to consider.
I think we should, yes, it's a great point.
Yeah.
I think, it's interesting that everything that we remember when we were kids, the small gas station, mom and pop gas station has now become the Maverick site with
Right.
full pumps, right? That's one of the challenges that you have, I think, is that that's just the direction we've all gone, is that we've stopped having those little locally owned that were awesome. Like, we had one in my hometown growing up that was
Same.
2 pumps, right? And that was it. But it was a great little place. And we've gone to these big just.
Buc-ee's.
Buc-ee's or, you know.
Yeah, and I don't think we should have a Buc-ee's
7-Eleven or whatever, right?
outside of
I mean,
neighborhood.
and that's what the market is today now, right?
It was like Disneyland,
Are
yes.
doing those larger stations
Wild.
and not necessarily small stations.
Yeah.
I think we should, yeah, make a note, that's a good conversation to have, yeah.
Questions or directions or
I'd say concerns and questions.
I think we should allow it, but if you don't think we should, maybe we should consider doing a limit on number of pumps. 6 pumps, 8 pumps.
I think we could, yeah, I think that's on the board. I think, yeah, this is a good time just to
That
gather
way you
here.
don't have a Maverick.
We don't have to make a decision tonight, we're not here to do that.
Exactly, we're not making decisions.
Nope.
We're coming up.
I think limit on gas, yeah, limit on the number of pumps would be a way to keep that an appropriate size for a neighborhood, right? That's where you go from the total pump average
You won't
to
get
the
a,
4
you
pump.
won't get a person to come in
So-
if there aren't enough pumps. I mean, that's back to, can you pencil it out and make money? And if you
I'm
can't,
just saying, that gas station's been
I
there
know,
since I've been
I know.
alive.
well,
And it's
this
still
is
there.
convenience stores. I remember growing up, convenience stores, there were a lot of them. There was a separate meat market, there was, bakery.
Yep.
And, they were right there. Where? Right in the middle of the neighborhood.
I
Not,
think,
not even
though-
in CN, they were in the neighborhood.
But now, don't you think it's fair to allow a business to decide if they can make money at doing that or not?
Well, we're not deciding if people can make money there.
Well, that's saying that,
Do it there.
well, yeah,
Well,
but
I
if they
think-
can't make money, they won't do it. And
No.
if they can, they will. As long as we put a guardrails of what we don't want them doing or do want them doing, right?
Well, also, I'm assuming these folks are grandfathered in there.
Yeah, the ones that are
I
already
mean,
operating.
we're not, it's not like you're getting out, right? Did we miss data centers, or are we not talking about that yet?
We haven't talked about it yet.
Okay.
I think we're going through the red dots first,
Alright,
and
let's
then
keep
we'll come
going.
back and loop through some of these.
The next red dot is gun sales in MG.
That was me. It was more of a general, are we gonna do sales in
Okay, so
MG? Cause the
this-
MG, the purpose says nothing about any sales.
Yeah.
I just chose gun sales cause that was the first one I noticed.
Yeah, Chad made a good idea when we were kind of reviewing this internally, is maybe there needs to be a separation of MG. Like, maybe there needs to be a different, like an MG1 and an MG2, right? And, or something different, there are other cities that do separate out their manufacturing zones into other districts. So that's a discussion we could have.
Sometimes a city will have, for example, like an M1 and an M2. M1 can contain some of those maybe retail type uses, and maybe that's where you have that zone along an arterial like 45th South, right? Maybe you do want some services. And it's not always a bad thing if you have a manufacturing zone, to have some places where those folks working there can go close by and get something to eat or something like that. So that's not always bad. But then also creating places where you can have even heavier industrial uses in those other. I think I'm speaking for Alabama when I say one of the concerns we have is we want to make sure that we don't water down the MG zone so much that we don't have. One of the great things about Murray is we have a balance of uses and we have places where people can work. Right? And that's, if you go over on Fifth West, north of 45th South, we have a lot of industry up there where people are making living wage jobs, right? So we want to have that balance in Murray if we can. So I think that's your task, is to figure out how do we have that balance while still making sure that the guy working in the flex industrial space can have some place close to go grab a bite to eat.
Yeah, so, but I think your question is valid, right? Is that something we wanna do? Is that something that the city wants, is to have more of those people? Cause like Garco, for example, is in the MG and they do auto sales, right? They do have,
They make chips, or like.
they do make chips, in that same place. Apparently they're really good chips.
They were really good
They were
chips.
really good. You guys probably didn't know that.
Didn't know that.
They make chips and they sell cars?
Well, I mean,
A different
unit,
units.
yeah. One unit makes chips, another unit, I mean, there's.
Where do those metal shavings go?
In businesses.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, is that,
can I, let me ask a question
Sure.
about, so from an economic standpoint, do we think it's bad for manufacturing then to move towards commercial? Is that what you're saying?
I think the temptation would be to, actually, right now, the temptation is to convert all that into residential use, right? So we've had times though where there's been a desire to create some retail space in an industrial zone and take up some of those areas where we've got set aside for manufacturing. So here's the problem you have with manufacturing is that sometimes it's very low impact, sometimes it's very light. Other times it does have bigger impacts on adjacent uses. So it does make sense to have some areas. To me, that's the one use that kind of still lends itself to our old fashioned zoning is that sometimes there are uses you need to just give a little separation from residential because of odors, noises, and they're perfectly good uses, but they just have impacts on neighbors. So I think it is good to answer, maybe I'm not answering your question, but I think the answer is we want to be careful that we don't completely eliminate the ability to have that by creating so many uses that they're going to be taken up by other things, right? And that was brought up yesterday or the day before by the University of Utah students. One city that we were looking at in the downtown, they were so concerned about these other uses they didn't want in that downtown that they said, well, we want to make sure all this was a retail or restaurant use. They said it's going to be exclusively that use to make sure that you can get anything else.
Livermore?
I think it was Livermore, California.
Yeah, and they said everything on the ground floor
Everything
is
on the ground floor needed to be whatever it was, retail or
restaurant.
restaurant. And so that was their acknowledgement that we want this particular area not to be taken up by other things. So the classic area we have is up there north of 45th South, and south, where you got lots of retail, we've got a hotel up there, we've got 2 hotels in the MG that are allowed. But is that the right place for, if there are those types of uses, are they really manufacturing uses? We want to say if you're along one of those arterial streets or someplace where you're going to support those uses. Or maybe it's a size thing. Maybe you say, yeah, we could have some retail in those areas, but we restrict the size. And that could be important too, because sometimes, like Minky Couture in Layton, they have a manufacturing facility that has about 15,000 of just retail space up front. So as they make their blankets, they can come out and people can buy them right from that shop. So retail's not necessarily the enemy, but do we want to make sure that we're protecting the ability to still have those good high wage producing, job producing areas in the city?
Like, so you could do something like that, right? Like, you can have retail in conjunction with your manufacturing use, like blend those together.
Flex warehouse.
Yeah, flex spacing as opposed to just standalone retail.
And we've talked about that the opposite way too, in some of these retail zones, like the CD. Why couldn't there be a small component of,
I'm losing my computer.
a small component of light industrial or low impact industrial uses?
That was our cue to leave.
In the VC, Zach?
Oh, you lost it.
Oh, and there we go. Meeting adjourned.
It's good to give you plenty of warning.
Ha!
Motion to adjourn?
You got out of it.
It's charging.
Yeah, it's charging now. I just switched it to USB-C. Sorry.
Oh, I think it's worth looking at in your CD zone as well, that you could potentially have some lower impact industrial uses, manufacturing uses. You guys brought up a brew pub, perfect example. Or distillery. You've got some light manufacturing going on. It could be a small bakery that has the actual bakery operation with a retail component up front, right? So you could also have.
And housing upstairs.
Maybe, that would be great, wouldn't it? As long as it's the right kind of bakery, that would be awesome. But, the other thing we saw a lot of was these kind of maker spaces, right? Where a person just wants to have a small handicraft. Their tools are very quiet tools. Or they're using a small, maybe it's a 3D printer that they're doing some stuff with a 3D printer that has very little impact, but it's maybe more of a manufacturing use. Now, the classic one up in Layton was technology associated with the base. We had a lot of guys that were doing very, very small stuff. If you can picture the A-10 Warthog, you had guys that made individual components for that plane. Their use was very low impact, very quiet. You wouldn't have even known they were there manufacturing, but they were making chips, they were making computer components. So I think, to me, the idea is that you're trying to protect those types of spaces where people can be industrious, and because those are the good wage, those are the higher wage jobs, those manufacturing and maker spaces. As opposed to retail, which you're gonna have a guy in there minimum wage manning your coffee shop, right?
Yeah. I did work up by Decker Lake, Brenner's Row up by there. And, I mean, that's all industrial or, manufacturing and, but there were restaurants throughout that. Like, I'd walk across the street and go to a little restaurant at the bottom of the building.
We can,
So I don't know how you do that. But size or maybe if it's related to, I mean, I would think if you're manufacturing something, you should be able to have a showroom out front.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you probably should be able to have, restaurants or small places people can
Supporting
get lunch.
uses, right?
Yeah.
But maybe a standalone sales, retail,
Yeah, maybe that's not.
maybe that's not in the line.
yeah.
The copy place or a UPS store too would be something that might want to have there.
Sure.
So I think it's important to acknowledge that, but I think the bigger concern is if you have it too loose in the amount of retailing going there, you could have a large industrial parcel that suddenly becomes a big box retailer, right, where you want to have higher wage producing areas in the city,
Right.
so.
Commercial in the MG zone. The next one we have is automobile sales.
Okay, I see 2 red dots there.
Yeah, we've got automobile sales is P, discuss in the MG, and then the State Street only.
I put the straight street only there.
Okay.
I think I did the other one, but
Okay.
it's the same.
Whether having auto sales there.
I know this is like drive-throughs. People don't like auto sales.
I don't mind them.
I just hate just limiting people to, here's on a single road where, it might be a small, guy getting into auto sales that can't start on State Street.
And I think that's where the conversation kind of needs to, that's where we're trying to balance, right? Permitting it in the MG zone, right, allows for them to have kind of those smaller spaces where maybe the higher ones along State Street, because in my mind, from experience of doing CUPs for auto sales for eight-ish years now, what I see happening is, and maybe this just needs to be called out differently, is people come into what has traditionally been like an office building or a retail space and say, I want to do auto sales here, right? And it's a cheap rent, so they can do it. A lot of times they say, well, I don't have my inventory here, I'm just a broker or whatever. Whether that's true or not, we can only take them at what they say. The prime example I can think of right now is, what was it on 53rd?
What was the business?
Saeed
Yeah.
Saeed Auto.
Saeed Auto.
Saeed Auto.
He took, just a little space in the office building, designated 3 parking stalls, that's all he needed. But is that an appropriate use for an office building, right? That's right along State Street. Yes, I think we could, the office is struggling right now, but could that be something better? Could that redevelop into something better that's more oriented towards the community? So that was kind of my thinking there is, so those both kind of go hand in hand, right? Limiting State Street, but also making it easier in MG. But that's a broader discussion whether we allow that in MG too.
Because Chad did suggest it, let's say auto broker right here.
Yeah, so
Chad did
possibly
bring that
adding
up.
like an auto broker type of use, right? Or a definition of that. So yeah, they can go into something in CD.
There are
Where,
people that legitimately
Yeah.
buy and sell
Yeah,
vehicles
sure.
without ever having them on the lot, right? Maybe that's an okay use.
Let me just repeat what I think you're saying, Zach.
Yeah.
So you think that by allowing it everywhere in the zone, when someone goes and starts up an auto sales place in one of these offices, we are, there's an economic impact that's detrimental to the city because of them doing that.
I wouldn't say it's an economic detriment, not at all. Is it?
So tell me what,
Is it the best use of that?
Is it the highest and best use of that property, right?
And the
Is it-
answer is perhaps not right now, or perhaps it is right now. But best case is it isn't. So what do you want?
Right.
You want nothing there now for a year, 2, 5, 10? Or you want something that is generating some revenue, like an auto sales?
I just
mean,
don't understand that it being auto sales, how that is negatively impacting that zone compared to any other use.
So what
That's what I want to understand. Tell me, how is auto sales negatively impacting that property compared to all the other uses we're allowing?
So I think, how do I best describe this?
I think one thing is that it's just visually not that appealing. State Street is not very pretty with all those car dealerships. That's a visual blight.
I agree with that, but isn't that where we're allowing them?
So yes,
So.
But do we want-
We're containing, right?
but do we want to, so I guess building on that, do we want to continue to allow that to happen, right?
I think we all have cars here, I think.
Yes.
So I think this is a use we need, and I think it's a really fine line, I think you're right. I think I think there's some competing interests here, we wanna make sure that we, have them in the right areas, the appropriate areas. I think the struggle that I have with the MG zone in particular for auto sales, and I'm not saying they couldn't be on other areas, but when we have those flex industrial spaces that were built particularly for uses like contractors or
Chip manufacturing.
chip manufacturing, plumbers, whoever needs a space with an office and a warehouse for what they do, right? When you put an automobile sales place in there, you've now created a place that you've taken one spot where there's no spot for that contractor to go anymore because it's taken up by auto sales. And the auto sales guy probably will pay the same rent as the contractor there, right? We see a lot of demand for that flex industrial space because a lot of times that's where your startup space is. That's where the guy that wants to start his new, he's not a big contractor, he wants to start something up. He goes in one of those small flex spaces and he can store his pipe in there and he can, have his little office there with someone manning the phones and go out and do their thing. So I think that's the rub, I think, is that the best place for a car dealership in that manufacturing zone tucked in behind in a flex industrial space? To me, I'm not sure it is, but that's why we're here to have that discussion.
Yeah.
So, so you're saying that, the building owner could get rent from the pipe guy or the car guy. So why didn't he pick the pipe guy?
Got there.
He would pick the guy that would pay the rent, right? The first person that's willing to pay him rent is who he would pick. It's not like he would pick the car guy over the pipe guy. So So what I hear is, if we don't allow car guys there, then there's less people that can go get in that building, and so the
Well-
pipe guy's gonna be able to get a space easier because the landlord won't be able to rent the building as easy. That's what I hear.
There's another side to that. Sometimes the car guy will pay more than the pipe guy, right? You got a guy operating on some kind of low margins here because he's doing contractor work, right?
Sure.
So I think that's the other component of it is that artificially increasing the price for those properties that could go to the pipe guy because he can't afford it anymore because there's 6 car guys that'll pay him, $500 more per month for rent because they're they're making a higher wage there or whatever. And that's just that's one facet. This is a
I'm saying,
multifaceted
unless
issue.
it's negatively impacting the city, why shouldn't we allow the business owner to get the most amount of rent he can? That's my argument there.
The response I'd have to that is that the impact of the city is that we want to have that balanced portfolio, just like with anything, right? If we put all of our eggs into one basket, that's not a good thing. So we want to have places for those other users to go. If we have a zone that allows just this broad range of uses that even includes use that takes up, one of the things about car dealerships is they take up a lot of space just with inventory. So now you've taken up all these spaces that could have been something else, and because that's the lowest hanging fruit for a landlord. Is that really the highest and best use? I think that's why we're having this discussion.
That's kind of the argument I've been trying to get to is I want to understand why we would, limit car dealerships. What's the reasoning? There has to be a reason behind it. And I think you're making that argument, that's good.
That's my reasons, but that's why we're here to talk.
Yeah, I mean, and I think he's articulating it a little bit better than I am. I just don't think, from what I worry about is that, let's take 53rd out of it for whatever reason. I worry about 9th East, right? 9th East has a completely different feel than State Street,
Yeah.
where there are a lot of auto dealers. If Larry H. Miller came in and purchased the big lots that's vacant now and said, I'm gonna put one in here, and you guys would be held to nothing. You could just do it. It's a conditional use. You could say you can put in your 8-foot fence around the property and good job, Is that appropriate for 9th East? And is that appropriate for those neighborhoods? Is it appropriate in Ivy Place?
Oh, yeah.
Right
there.
Is it appropriate there? Is it appropriate on Van Winkle? Like, that's what we're really getting at is whether these are appropriate for those neighborhood scales. Not necessarily we want to get rid of them. We're trying to think of we're trying to tailor it, just because nobody's come in yet for an auto sales on 9th East. That does worry me, right? Like, I don't want to have to go through that because I don't think it's appropriate there. I just think there are better, more community-based things. There's already kind of a retail hub there, with the gym and things like that. It just doesn't feel like the appropriate place for it. So, let's finish the red dots, I think. What we can do is take some of the big questions, and if you guys want, we can continue this to the next meeting, if you want. If you want to mull this over and get additional questions, because there's only one agenda item on the 5th.
I think it would be good to revisit it, especially if you refine some stuff, so we can look at it again.
Yeah. I have a question, Zach. So, is this only for the planning commissioner? Will this go to the city council?
It'll go to council.
Pardon me?
It would go to council. It's a text amendment. It would influence the whole thing.
Have they had any meetings about this?
Nope.
No.
No, we would anticipate that you all would be the ones that do the groundwork on this, and then they get a pretty finished product from this.
Yeah, they would get a finished product. The city council has to look at a lot more things. That's why they delegate a lot of the land use stuff to you guys.
Okay,
Okay, we have 3.
Is weaponry in the MG zone is currently marked N.
Okay.
Make it conditional, that's all I'm saying.
I agree.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, we can research conditions on what would make it. Okay.
Next up, we have currently, make sure it's the right one, self-storage is a permitted use in MG.
That was Zach that put that sticker there because he cheated.
I didn't cheat.
Actually, I did it. That's a lie. I did.
Because I said, why is it there? Because I don't think we allow self-storage in the MG currently.
What makes self-storage so different from storage period, which we already allow?
I don't think we allow,
In the MG zone,
yeah,
we do.
we allow like vehicle storage
Mhm.
and outdoor storage, but not
Yeah.
self-storage.
And why is that different?
Because we saw a few years ago, before I came in, I think it was around 2015 or so, I don't even know, were you part of it that got rid of the?
Yeah.
Okay, well, Chad can talk about why we got rid of it.
It's one of those uses that we all use those too, right? I've had storage units from time to time in my life. It can take up entire cities. I'll give you another, sorry for the late examples, but it's where I was most recently, but they were trying to figure out something that could go underneath the jet fly path there where the jets come off the runway for Hill Air Force Base. And it started to become this little city of mini storages there. And there were plenty of other uses that could go there that we just fine for the base, they were fine with. But because that was the easiest thing for people to do and figure out, and that's kind of what was happening here in Murray, is there was just such a proliferation of storage. Again, each city has this limited amount of land. And it became such a proliferation of these storage units that they said, we need to take a time out. We're getting mostly these mini storages in these areas. This is really the best use for these properties. That's a great example right there, Zach. You got a freeway frontage property
Right here.
that could be so many great high-wage job-producing uses in that area. And do we really think the best use for that? You only have so much freeway frontage properties in any city. Is the best use for that self-storage?
And you could build those with
And
no
look at those
employees
cranes
now.
as well.
Like, those don't even create
They
jobs.
don't create. And so, do we need them? Sure. Do we
Like
need-
automated
Is
the
that
whole
all
thing.
we need? No.
So
Okay,
here's,
so my question then is, where would they be allowed in the city?
right now they're not allowed anywhere.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We should have a zone where they're allowed.
We're not the only ones. I
Do
think.
we have to allow it
I think
somewhere?
the point is that we've got a lot already. That's the issue. That's where the
It could be
council
anything
is.
though. We could have a
I'd rather
lot of
have drive-throughs.
steakhouses.
So,
And it would be
I
like,
just
why do we
wanna
have so many
know-
steakhouses?
Well, I think the other question though that you could ask,
Cranes and stuff.
Yeah, steak.
I think the other question you could ask though related to mini storage is how many does one city need, right? That was the issue that came up in Layton is, are we now supplying mini storage for every surrounding community
Yeah.
in
So can I
Davis
just,
County, right?
can I just show the I-15 number of storage units?
Yes.
So we've got here, so this is at the very top of the city, pretty much. Yeah, this is 39th. So we have this one, and then we have another one right here. Let's see. Here's another one. Here's another one. Here's another one.
Across the street from it, right?
Right next to it is there. There's another one. Here's another one. This one was built recently, I think. It's a different type of
And I went to
storage.
Anaheim, that guy said New Mexico, they're not
Pretty
even
much.
locals.
Yeah. So, I mean, then here you've got,
There's more right there just off the freeway.
oh yeah, these guys right here.
Well, I got pitched, like I said, I got pitched to invest in one of these things, and you can do it with like
Yeah.
nobody on site,
Okay.
like everything's automated, like it doesn't even create jobs.
There's another one. And here's another one.
It's a lot of self-storage.
And
It's a lot of
with
crap we have.
The reason why is freeway
Oh,
frontage
these
so
are
Oh, less crap.
Because with freeway
probably
frontage comes
demand
exposure
for
and
a lot
signage,
more.
right? So you have businesses like our tractor sales places, that freeway frontage is critical to them. So is having self-storage allowed in all those places the best and highest use for that? I think right now the city council said, yeah, we've done our share. We've already given, right? We gave it the office, right?
Same with
Provided what we're gonna do.
Same with housing though, right? We've got her share for a lot of those different categories.
Well, I mean, so that gives you just the freeway frontage.
Yeah,
There are still lots,
quite a few more.
all over the city. And some of these, they are used as storage lots, or self-storage, but I can't identify some of them. So that's where you can kind of see the proliferation of it.
And interestingly enough, this is not a good thing. I'll tell you what happens. We have people using these self-storage places as a de facto light industrial space. We have people that manufacture sometimes out of these places.
Oh, yeah.
Here's the problem with that. They're not built that way, and it's not safe, right? It's not safe for the people that have stuff next door. It's not safe for people using it. So to me, that's a good argument of, should we be building more of these? When really what the demand is for people that want to have someplace to have a little office with a makerspace, right?
I mean,
So-
can we use the example of what we're dealing with right now for code enforcement?
Yeah, we have a business that's operating a tire business out of these self-storage. They have their people in and out all day long, and it was never meant to be that. It was meant to be someplace for someone to store their RV and so that, I think that's the question you need to ask. I've had self-storage units in the past. I don't have one right now, but there will probably be a day I'll have another one. Lots of us do. They're a needed use, but how many do we need? That's the question.
I think there's a lot of houses that are selling drugs, but that's not an argument to do away with houses. So I
think those are apples and oranges, though, Jake, respectfully.
I don't think they are. I think if you're saying that we don't want to have storage units because somebody could use it for a purpose that's
that's not what I'm
against the
saying.
law,
That's
that's
not-
what you just said, though.
I said that's one component of it, but the other component is, how many does the city need?
No, I know. I'm just saying that last argument I don't think is a valid argument. If someone's already doing something illegal, well, then they're doing something illegal and we need to deal with that. Right?
Well,
Code enforcement.
I agree. I agree. My point though is that if your point is we should be putting more of these out there because people want to build them, if we see that there's people that are actually using some of these units for uses that are not intended, is there really a need for more of those, or are we creating the wrong thing?
I understand what you're saying. I guess, I think my argument is this. I think for me, I think of it as a property owner, and if the property owner should be allowed to do what they want with their property, as long as it's not detrimental to the community. And if it is, I think that's a valid argument, and I think that's something we should look at.
And I think you could make that argument, right? That having so many of these, if they proliferate,
No, I think that's an argument, yeah. I think that's a valid argument, that we
you're
have
not
too
creating
many.
additional jobs, you're
and-
not.
Yeah, I think that's a valid argument.
Because you have a lot of, you could have safety concerns as well. Those places are vacant, they're empty, most of the time. That can lead to vandalism.
I
and-
completely agree with, I completely agree with that.
They're a great use.
They
It's
are
just how
a
many
good
do we
use.
need?
Yeah.
Can't you ask the same question about any use? Are there too many of
That's-
whatever?
You could.
Like if there's too many auto, in my opinion, there's too much auto sales in the city zone.
I mean, you could, but I think what would be helpful is in our next iteration, I think to show, I would like to probably show a map of how many we actually do have. And
I
whether
mean, I
that's
can
worth it.
show that. I think that how many we have is, I think if we think that as a city, they are detrimental to the economics of our city, that's an argument. And I think it's a valid argument.
And I think
that's
because
what
there
they're
are so
saying.
many, that is a detriment.
We do feel
And
that.
I think that is a detriment to the economy of our city.
Last one's cannabis.
Yeah, which we'll fix. That one we'll fix.
That's all I already talked about,
Yeah.
right?
Cannabis. It was something we missed in our other one. It has to be with state law stuff.
Not to drag this out.
Why does it sound so
I have a question about that one.
The cannabis?
Yeah. So it's not allowed in any?
Well, currently it
That's-
is.
yeah.
Currently it is. I don't know why
Okay,
it was missed
in the
this one.
neighborhood?
What?
Like in the neighborhood?
It's allowed in the
At
MG
my
zone.
house?
In the MG.
MG zone is
No,
allowed,
not
the pharmacies
your
are
house.
allowed in CD.
No, that
Yeah,
one.
there's quite a few.
So
Classify my garage as MG.
I do have a question about, so some of these uses that we put in here that are no.
Okay?
Are we doing that to just spell out that for sure these are no's because they possibly could fit in another category? Is that why we're doing that?
Yes.
Yes.
That's why all of the residential zones are here.
Okay.
Yeah, and like I said, those will, like the residential ones, for example, right? This is a table that will become expanded as we go on.
Sure.
So those residential uses will eventually get some permitteds and
Yeah, okay.
conditionals and things in there.
Briefly talk data centers.
Yeah.
Are they currently allowed in anything? Or is it just not accessory?
Again, so I mean,
They're defined anyway.
they're not defined. I mean,
Okay.
we don't have them in this book.
Because I'm just saying, if you do, put them in MG. I think that's where they belong.
Yeah, I mean, and that, I mean,
We should probably spell that out, right?
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
MG feels like
And
the
you want to
right.
permit them?
Yeah, I think you should permit them, yes.
I say just permit them. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know why you need a condition.
That's a great example of the use we wouldn't have anticipated back 50 years ago.
Right, yeah.
Exactly.
But they're going up like crazy right now, so.
okay. Anything else you want us to look at or research? So everything else looks good. Move forward. No. So what I think it would be worth it. We'll do some research on these things. Do you think it's worth coming back next meeting and and that way you guys can kind of digest some of this? If questions come up between now and packet of the next one, feel free to shoot them my way. If you want something brought up, just shoot any of us an email and we can put in our list of research.
Yeah, there's some notes in here that you were like researching stuff further, so if we
Yes.
end up with additional information, we'll.
Yep, I will, it'll be more refined.
Well, the other point is, that I told Katie, I don't know if I'm gonna be here next time. However, there are two other commissioners who
Yep.
no doubt have some opinions about all of this.
Of course,
So
yeah.
that would be good.
Yeah, and I don't anticipate to have, I think we'll probably have a few more discussions
I think that's good.
before this really gets solidified.
So this will be something we eventually vote on.
Yeah.
Okay.
You make a recommendation to the city council.
This is just kind of our starting point.
So this starting point, do you have some kind of timeline, or are you gonna do it in pieces? I think you said it before, Ruth, that maybe take this piece, maybe get it approved, and then take another piece and get it approved, and another bite.
Yep,
So is there,
that's our goal.
do you have some timeline? I mean, long-term,
I
another
mean,
year,
I think
another 2 years?
probably less than a year. I want this done,
He wants to know if he's gonna be voting on it.
yeah. No,
Well, I mean, we can't push it off forever.
yeah, I would like to get it done. I could probably anticipate it depends, right, on how further discussions go. But maybe June, July? I'll
Drag
throw-
it up and put it on next meeting agenda and you can vote on it if you wanna.
You know,
I think that gives us enough time. I mean, if we have a discussion, we will have a discussion next week. And then, depending on how that kind of comes out and we further refine some of this. Like I said, we were working on this until 4 o'clock on Friday. We have less on this agenda, and more time to,
well, commission meetings aren't typically all that long.
right.
So if you have a meeting that's an hour, I mean, an hour-long meeting has kind of been, that's kind of a longer meeting
Yeah.
typically.
And that kept you
And if you
here
have
for
another hour of discussion after that, that's pretty easy.
All right. So I think we have some good marching orders. We have some good stuff up here.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. This was a lot of work.
It is.
It's a lot of work. Thank you for putting it all together.
Awesome.
Well, it is fun work because it's meaningful.
I think this will be much better once we get it done.
Yeah, I hope so. That's what we hope for.
All right, so next meeting, is it
March 5th, isn't it?
March 5th.
Oh yeah, March 5th, that's right. Do you know what's on that meeting?
Just one text amendment.
Okay. All right, anything else? Legal? Are we legal? All right, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
8:18.
8:18.
Okay, hey, thanks for